Say no to SROs.
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 Racism has no place in our schools.
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 Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
This is clearly, the next generation of activists right here. We want to lift up their voices and really pay close attention to what they're saying about these killer cops getting into being so closely involved in the school district. The school to prison pipeline is a menace in the public school system. It just cannot continue, and so these young activists here are really shining a spotlight on that. They're making huge strides in successes in calling attention to this critically important issue, and our activist community is grateful for their presence at this action today. So once again, we're here at the corner of 16th and J with Sacramento Area Peace Action. They've been doing a weekly demonstration here for decades to protest against the war in the Middle East and wars abroad and the war at home as it relates to the militarization of our communities. And so it's critically important that we stand in solidarity and we recognize our valuable community partners for doing the great work that they do. And even when times are rough and they don't necessarily lend themselves to protesting, they're still out here fighting the good fight, spreading the message, getting folks aware, and making folks uncomfortable, even if you don't agree with the message or whatever. They are still out here putting lifting up the struggle for justice. So we got to hand it to the Sacramento Area Peace Action for everything that they are doing in this, and also our partners, NorCal Resist, and the Anti-Police Terror Project, and of course the Answer Coalition, Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. If there's nothing else, we'll probably do some more chants and then close it out in a bit, but I did want to reflect on the three individuals who are depicted in the banner here, starting with Michael Barrera. Michael Barrera was a gentleman who was killed by the Woodland Police Department in 2018. He was unarmed. His final words were, I can't breathe, in a chilling reminiscence to, Eric Garner, to George Floyd, similar struggle. Basically, the police killed him, in broad daylight in the middle of Woodland, California. Basically, there was no reason to do so. He was unarmed at the time. It was a multitude of officers who basically, the Yolo County District Attorney and the Woodland PD, of course, are tight-lipped about it. But it looks like they basically beat him to death and got away with it. The middle individual, as you probably are aware, is Stephon Clark. The police brutality protests rocked Sacramento, last year and the year before. Nationwide coverage of this young man who was shot to death in his grandparents' backyard. 20 shots were fired and multiple in his back. All he had in his possession was a cell phone, which the officers mistook for a gun. And
they mistook for a gun.
Right, they claimed it, and after they claimed, they went through a whole multitude of excuses and explanations. including saying that he had, a crowbar or a tool bar in his possession. So, we're all familiar with, Stephon Clark, and we're trying to, keep alive his legacy and show folks that, we're still concerned about the case. We want to see justice. We want to see Anne Marie Schubert resign. We want to see the officers Mercadal and Robinette be charged in the killing of Stephon Clark, and we want to see an expedient resolution in favor of justice for the family and everybody involved in this situation. And then lastly, Daryl Richards. Daryl Richards was killed by the Sacramento Police Department in a 2018 or 2017. They were basically hunted down, like an animal, and were killed summarily, execution style, by the gang unit, I believe, of the Sacramento Police Department. Again, this was another individual who was unarmed, was not a threat to the officers. They chased him around Broadway area and North, Oak Park, all around, and finally executed him basically while he was cowering under a staircase, in the Broadway or Curtis Park area. So all of these struggles are happening, and we're not letting their deaths go just into the sunset. We're constantly demanding that justice be delivered and expediently for all these individuals affected.